watching.
Subscribe.
Hello and welcome to ScreenStalker. We're not drinking this movie anymore. I am Chopper Piquanel. This is housemate Simon Longdon, and coming up on today's show,
Tom Holland's Uncharted movie has lost another director.
Luke attempts to beat Castlevania again.
And Roman Reigns' 2K20 Tower trailer reveal.
And we go through your comments from yesterday's video.
And don't forget to answer our question of the day, which is, what would you like to see at the end of the Roman Reigns 2K Tower mode? What should be the big bad? But we will answer those questions on Tuesday, because in the UK, it's a public holiday on Monday. And we could come in.
No one's going to be here.
But not gonna.
No. And make sure to leave us a like and subscribe and help us get to our next goal of 50,000 subscribers, because apparently it's still getting swifty, though I still have no idea what that means.
More swifty, please.
So the news has just come out that Tom Holland's Uncharted movie, where he'll be in the starring role as Nathan Drake, has lost another director for the film.
This is the third or fourth director that's left this project?
I've actually got a list. Dan Tratchenberg, who's just left, which is what the story is about. But you also had Sean Levy before him, David O. Russell, and Neil Berger, and Joe Carnahan. All were slated to be directing this movie, and now none of them are. For any movie, a track record of having 5 directors leave doesn't exactly shine the best light on this potential movie.
But also, let's not pretend that this doesn't happen to other movies all the time.
Of course not.
Loads of Marvel movies have had loads of directors leave. Let's be honest, video game movies don't have a good track record.
They suck.
So I don't think anyone at Sony, and if they are, they're a moron, is sat there going like, this is going to be our, massive blockbuster hit. This should be a middling release, especially if they want to release it at the same time as the June remake is coming to America. It wants to compete with possibly some of the biggest movies that aren't MCU movies in the next few years. This is like Assassin's Creed. They've got a big star. Loads of people will go who like the game. They won't like it. People who don't know the game were never going to go watch it. This isn't going to be the next Indiana Jones. None of these are big directors, by the way.
No.
So I assume also a lot of them might not be leaving just because they, like even Tratchenberg was like, what is he called? The tractor man.
Dan Tratchenberg.
He's largely done TV.
Yeah.
So if you're like, do you want to not get paid that like a huge amount of money to make an Uncharted movie, which again won't do very well, or maybe there's a second series of a thing that he's already worked on. Maybe there's a bigger movie he wants to do. Maybe there's a script that he's got. Like, you don't know what. Like, these directors are all kind of, they're still moving towards the upper echelon. So I don't think this is necessarily as dramatic as.
No.
As it sort of sounds.
Yeah, I think it's just the next domino in the Sony week that they've had, and it's.
They quite early on went, we've got Tom Holland! Told everyone, and then what's the move about? I haven't done that bit yet.
But don't worry, it's got Tom Holland in it.
Yeah.
I don't do it as much as I used to because Kate hates it.
That's what they said about heroin. Oh, the bloody ball and chain. Oh, never lets me do my heroin anymore.
Right, so we don't need a full intro, do we?
No, because...
Cool.
Ooh. Well, those guys. Come on, you missed a candle. Can hold a candle for that guy.
Hey, I see what you did there.
At that point, you walked behind the candelabra.
I was just...
I don't know any other candle puns. I don't feel like this guy's particularly well prepared for battle. He's got very exposed thighs. Oh, Dave, are you ready for battle there, mate? You seem to have come out wearing a skirt and knee-high boots. Are you on a hen do? Or are you invading Dracula's castle? The whip wouldn't be my weapon of fantasy weapon of choice.
What would be your weapon of choice? I mean, you use magic in D&D.
I do use magic in D&D, and also I use my cunning and wit.
Riding on cannonballs.
Yeah. Oh, that's Medusa.
Yeah.
Or is that Julius Caesar?
Could be either, really.
Yep.
Go on, you moon-faced bitch. Also, she looked at me once and I was rock hard. Just a classic Medusa joke.
From the big book of Medusa jokes.
Yeah, Bobby Davro's big bumper book of Medusa jokes. It's quite an interesting tactic on the part of the skeletons to launch their own bones.
Oh yeah, totally. It's like throwing your own rib.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Or throw your own arms.
Literally is what they do.
They're ribbing you, mate.
It's not like that. That is what they're doing. Honestly, this marathon's like running a really long race.
I'm tired and I'm concentrating. Well, the problem with games these days is
Do you want to push your glasses up?
is that, like, you know, nowadays it would see that I was struggling with the level and it's like, it looks like you need help. And it would then give me some form of, like, you know, assistance to try and get me through the level, you know.
But
so if I suck at Mario, then I suck at Mario. I just need to get good, as the kids might say. Kids these days.
I always loved that argument of like, oh, you can't say anything these days, other than the fact that you're saying it in a national newspaper. If anything, it's never been easier to say whatever the you want. Honestly, you can't say anything. You can't even go on a nationally televised program and talk about how you can't say stuff about women, but in the process, say everything you think about women. But honestly, you can't even say it these days. It's like you just did loads of times. You can't even give unsolicited back rubs in the workplace. It's
PC gone mad.
Oh.
I don't know what Simon's going to do with all of this money at the end of it, of course, because really, all he wants to do is rid the world of Dracula.
Yeah, is this all just an allegory for, like, the banking crisis? I always love it when people say, like,
the bed.
Has it died?
Oh,
Did you break the controller by slamming it down?
Game frozen. I think my game's frozen. Oh.
Does that mean you've lost all your checkpoints and everything?
Yeah, I'm going to have to start the game again.
Honestly, you can't play anything these days.
We're roaming in the rains. We're roaming in the rains.
2K20 has dropped another trailer, this time for Roman Reigns' Tower mode. Him in what I believe is the passport office. Just chatting to a auto cue.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And he just talks about Brock Lesnar for a bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
it's
just
really
puts over Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Like, the production of it is just, they are just in an office. Like, there's just office blinds. They just turn the lights off and you know, had him read a thing.
And then just say, read this. And he goes, okay. And that's it. It's so strange to me. I'm totally on board with this Roman Reigns Tower. Cool. If you want to do the story with Brock Lesnar over 4 years, however long it was, cool. Makes perfect sense. Why do the trailer where Roman Reigns just says, you know what, Brock's great. Brock's so good. And it's like, it's the Roman Reigns Tower. Talk about yourself. For once, Roman Reigns, talk about yourself.
Let us know what you think. That's our question of the day. What would you have in this Tower mode? What would be your preferred, I guess,
Big boss.
Big boss.
Yeah.
Big bad at the end. I think he should just have to go into the crowd like the Malice in the Palace and just start smacking up the crowd.
That's the final boss.
It's like Roman Reigns
Get the
versus the
highest
world.
kill count.
Yeah.
The wealth of human personality and so on and so on.
So on yesterday's video, Laurie and Luke asked you guys, what did your Xbox hear you say at home? And I think that was a bold question for them to ask, but we've got some great responses. The first one from J-Rock says, the most that Xbox may have heard are swears about parents and genitals when the players are unable to kill a boss monster or clear a stage or lost PvP matches.
I mean, I've never specifically shouted about his parents' genitals at the Xbox, but I can see how that could happen. The only one I thought of was when they first brought out the Xbox One, they made a big deal of being able to walk in and say Xbox on or whatever, which, you know, again, who gives a but I always thought it was funny if someone's mum came in and went, turn that Xbox off, would it just turn off?
Turn that off right now.
Yeah.
Xbox off.
Yeah, how many games were ruined?
Oh my god,
like
that's
if you were
amazing.
a parent and you knew what that word, you would just program your voice in.
Yeah. Oh, that would be amazing. I now want to do that when I'm a parent. If I'm a parent.
Have you got secret children?
No.
Jobber JJ496 says, don't have an Xbox, but if I did, I will just talk about Resident Evil and ScreenStalker. Well, that's very kind.
That's what a lovely gentleman. Yeah.
I'm not sure what the Xbox would do with that information.
No, probably not.
Not sure what your non-existent Xbox would do with that information, but you know, it's good vibes. Nice.
That's good. It's nice that we control your entire lives.
So
Step one.
So as long as we talk about J-Rock's mum's genitals, then Job and JJ will talk about it.
Yep.
Now we're all talking about it.
Exactly.
So
it just spreads.
And this is the rule of the internet.
Z-Egg said, Xbox didn't hear anything from me because I can't afford it. I also cannot afford an Xbox. And in fairness, even if I had one, probably wouldn't use it anyway. I've got an Xbox 360. Never on it. I've got a Switch.
The problem with the Xbox One ultimately isn't its price, is the fact that it's an absolute pile of that doesn't work, and all the menus are broken, and you can't sign in or out or anything in any way that's remotely helpful. But I remember when I borrowed one when I used to work for a gaming place. I borrowed one to review Rise, Son of Rome.
Yeah.
And the main thing about it was you could shout commands. And I had my neighbours knock. What are you doing? Because all I was doing was yelling as hard as I could, volley, like whatever the stuff we wanted you to shout, and then it just didn't.
You just
work.
turned into Reaper for Red just shouting,
yeah.
Die! Die!
Exactly. Good game though, Rise, Son of Rome.
Yeah, Rise, Son of Rome.
It's basically, if you like the film Gladiator and you want to almost play the last third of the film shot for shot, then that's the game for you.
It's perfect, yeah.
Barrel Wolf says, I tried to say Sony was better. My Xbox didn't turn on until I begged it for forgiveness. It then accused me of being a freeloader. Be interested to see if you could train an Xbox to suddenly become really pro Sony.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if you got one fresh, what adverts would you get? Because everyone said that along this question, other people were saying things like, oh, but everyone's phone's doing that already. Ultimately, at least with the phone, you're not placing it on yourself to let it hear you. But with an Alexa or an Xbox, you are just bugging your own house. It is I like the fact that the PlayStation tries and doesn't seem to want to do that.
Yeah.
Although the PlayStation does always want, every now and again, it does want you to use the touchpad as the keyboard, or or somehow type, but using the
gyro controls.
Yeah, it's
it's bonkers.
Mad.
Yeah. So that's all we've got time for on this episode of ScreenStalker. We're not draking this movie anymore. Make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe and help us reach our next goal of 50,000 subscribers. And make sure to leave a comment answering today's question of the day, as we'll go through your comments on Tuesday's episode, and press the videos that have just appeared on the screen to catch up with the latest ScreenStalker things. I've been Chopper Pete Quinnell. This has been housemate Simon Longdon. And remember, we're watching. One of these days, Simon will say it.
I won't.